Welcome back everyone. We're going to be comparing the original iPhone SE to the newly released iPhone SE. Now this is going to be pretty interesting. I've hyped up the iPhone SE2 so much and I'm really happy to finally do this specific comparison. The other ones are like whatever, but I feel like these ones, this is probably going to be the biggest, upgrade or the biggest phone people are going to upgrade from to the new iPhone SE 2020. Now what I'll tell you is that before I get in too deep, I'm giving away an iPhone SE2. I'm giving away the Product Red one. If you guys want to enter, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All the links are down below. I'm picking the winner on May 8th, and I'll probably announce it on Twitter and Instagram, so make sure you guys follow me there to see if you won. Now, the biggest thing is probably the price difference. I've seen a lot of iPhone SEs, these ones, go for like $100, less than $100 on like Black Friday sales and everything, so believe it or not, maybe the SE2 will go down to like $300, maybe $250 on some Black Friday deals soon, who knows? Especially on like some sign-up bonuses. I think they're already doing like sign-up bonuses. If you sign up, then you get it free. I don't really know anymore, but definitely between both, the SE2 is the far superior phone. It's the better phone every single which way, as it should be. It's the successor to this phone, so we should expect to see better differences, better improvements, things like that. Now the SE2 does cost about $400 to pick up right now. It has not gone down in value yet, but it will probably will at some point. So looking on the fronts of both of these, you can see there's some pretty big differences. The whole entire body of the original SE can fit into the whole entire screen. Not actually, it's a little bit less, but for the most part, the SE can fit inside of the SE2, which is kind of funny. Now, what I'll tell you though is that don't sleep on the original SE. This phone is still pretty good for the most part. But I think most people are just more focused on the size of the phone rather than anything else. If you look at the size, some people still prefer a smaller screen like this. You have a 4-inch IPS panel on the iPhone SE. The original one is 640 by 1136, and I don't think it's like a horrible panel. The thing with the SE and its biggest advantage was that because the screen was so small, it wasn't like a stretched out display. It wasn't like it was a 6-inch panel. All the pixels were pretty compact, so even it's still a Retina, so you can't really see like every pixel. So this panel really wasn't ever that bad. Even from like the iPhone 5, it was never like a bad panel. Whereas on the iPhone SE2, we have that 4.7-inch Retina IPS panel. It's 750 by 1334. Now you do get some cool advantages by going from the original SE to the SE2. You're getting things like True Tone, which is really nice. Now I wonder if this phone got haptic feedback, and it did, so with an update, this phone did get haptic feedback, which is really cool. My iPhone 6 did not get that, which I was confused about, but with the SE2 you still have that too, which is really cool. But True Tone technology is one of my favorite things, and this phone does support it, which is really cool. But really everything else, it's just a size difference. Are you okay with the smaller screen? Are you okay with the bigger screen? Other than that, there's not really like a crazy big difference between these panels in my opinion, but it is what it is. Now looking on the bottom, both phones have lightning ports, but the iPhone SE does have that headphone jack, which is really cool. Some people might like it, some people might not. Me personally, I really don't care that much anymore, but I'm sure some people still care out there, but it's not really that big of a deal anymore. On the back, glass back on the SE2, but an aluminum / glass back on the SE. So you have glass up top and the bottom, but aluminum in the middle. The SE2 does have wireless charging, which is really cool. The original iPhone SE does not have that, but definitely at the end of the day, the design of the original SE is so timeless, and I definitely do like the original SE's design more than this one. The solid, like flat sides is so cool, and I really miss this design so much. The SE2 does not have that. It's pretty much the same body as the iPhone 8, so it is what it is. I'm not going to freak out about it too much, but you have no IP certification on the original SE, but you do have IP67 dust and water resistance on the iPhone SE2, so a really cool advantage with this phone that the SE does not have, but it is what it is. We're not going to freak out about it too much, but in terms of the outside, that really pretty much covers it. Now I'll go and hit on the software. The iPhone SE original started off with iOS 9.3.2. We are able to get iOS 13.4.1 on it right now, but here's the thing, I don't know when this phone is going to be getting iOS 14 or if it ever gets iOS 14. It's kind of in that middle ground where it's like it might get it, it might not, we really don't know. In my opinion, I think it will probably end up getting it, but we really don't know right now. And whether we like to believe it or not, the SE is at its end of life cycle, whereas on the iPhone SE 2020, it's just getting started. This thing has started off with iOS 13.4.1, and it's going to be lasting for a very long time, pretty much as long as the 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max, the latest iPhones. It has the same chipset, so it's probably going to be lasting as long as those phones, so it is what it is, but I'll definitely tell you, the iPhone SE 2020 is going to be lasting for a very long time and much longer than this original iPhone SE. So that pretty much covers it. However, the SE does support under that checkra jailbreak, so that's really cool. If you want to jailbreak this thing, you have that type of capability. And this phone is on iOS 13. I know it kind of looks like it's on iOS 10. I have dark mode and everything, so this is not on iOS 10 by the way, but Now that kind of covers it up in the software standpoint. Now hitting on the performance standpoint, I'll do a quick speed test, but I'll do a different one for like a full in-depth speed one. I'll test the RAM and everything like that. But the original SE had that Apple A9 chip, a dual-core CPU, and 2 gigs of RAM on every model, where the iPhone SE2 has that Apple A13 Bionic chip, hexa-core CPU, and 3 gigs of RAM on each model. So that being said, let's go and do a little bit of a speed test, see which one is the faster one. Now that we're back, let's go and close out all these apps in the background. I don't know how many apps I have, and I guess I just came off a speed test from both of these at some point. I know I just did it with the SE2, but man, the SE has a lot of apps. Okay, all the apps are closed out. Let's do the App Store. 3, 2, 1. And definitely the SE2 was the faster one. Swiping through, and that was a pretty big difference, and even swiping through seems much smoother on the SE2 for sure. Now we have a bunch of these third-party apps downloaded, so let's start getting into it. Twitter, 3, 2, 1. Okay, SE2 loaded, and SE just a little bit behind it. Facebook, 3, 2, 1. And definitely SE2 was faster. And again, believe it or not, the original SE was a little bit behind, but it's not like a crazy big difference. But I've only tested 2 apps, so why am I even talking? Doodle Jump, I don't have on here. Oh, I do 3, 2, 1. And SE2 definitely was the faster one between both those. Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. And as you can see, SE2 was definitely faster. And the original SE just a little bit behind. Like I stated, not like an amazing difference like I stated, but you know, they're pretty close at the end of the day. Stack, 3, 2, 1. And the reason I say they're so close is because obviously the SE is the newest one. The original SE was, you know, the older one, but it's not like a crazy difference as I was expecting. And for some reason the ads aren't loading on either one, so I don't know which one is faster. Netflix, 3, 2, 1. And again, SE2 is the faster one. Dropbox or Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. Again, SE2 is faster. Temple Run, 3, 2, 1. And they both might be in the game, but even then you can see how the SE2 was noticeably faster than the original iPhone SE. Snake vs. Blocks, 3, 2, 1. And iPhone SE2 definitely faster. The original SE just a little bit behind. We can do Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And this comparison is so all over the place. I usually go like in order of the apps, but I don't even know what I just did. I like went all over the place. And the SE2 is definitely faster, as you guys can see. It's loading into it. We might load into it before the SE. Yep, so we're fully loaded into it before the SE even gets into the game, which is pretty insane. Let's go and wait for the SE, and that one was a pretty big difference in my opinion, so that kind of shows what the capability is for the new SE2. We can go and end it off with Rear Racing 3, 3, 2, 1. Hopefully we don't have to download anything, because that's been a really weird problem I've been having for like all my devices for some reason. I don't know why. And we are loaded into the SE2, which is pretty cool. And like I stated before, the SE2 does a really good job on these heavier, intensive games, which is really cool, and that's something I love seeing for these newer type of devices. The SE original one still taking its time, and no knock to it. I mean, it is what it is, but you know, it's kind of a long time you're gonna have to wait for a game, especially compared to something that's already finished. And eventually we get into it. So definitely the iPhone SE2 is the faster phone between these two at the end of the day for sure. The original SE I think is still good for a majority of people, but when you compare these like I just did, bro, you can definitely see that the iPhone SE is a little bit slower than the SE2 for sure. So we'll go and hit on the cameras. Like I stated with the speed test, I'll do a separate camera test. But in this video, I'll just briefly hit on them. You have 12 megapixel sensors on both cameras. So you have a 12 megapixel sensor here and a 12 megapixel sensor here. Now you can do 4K at 30 on both phones, but the SE2 does have the capability of doing 4K at 60, which is really cool, and definitely a better thing than the 4K at 30 on the original SE. The SE2 also has portrait mode, which is really awesome. The original SE doesn't have that. The original SE's camera is still good. This one, you know, it still has a pretty good camera, but the SE2's camera is definitely better by far. You're getting better quality, you're getting better features, and at the end of the day, it is a better camera at the end of the day for sure. On the front, a 7 megapixel camera on the SE2 and a 1.2 megapixel camera on the iPhone SE. And you know, at this one too, the SE2 does do a better job. The original SE can do 720p video, the SE2 can do 1080p video, which is still not that big of a difference in 2020. We have 4K at 60 on our front cameras now, but still the SE2 does a better job with that front camera for sure. Now ending it off with the battery life, The original iPhone SE had a 1624 mAh battery, and the new iPhone SE 2 has a 1821 mAh battery. Now, what I will tell you though is that, in my opinion, I think the original SE has better battery life than the new iPhone SE. Every single time that I do, like, I'm finished with these comparisons and I let it rest for a while, this phone is already down to like 50%. And right now it's doing pretty good, but once I let it sit for a while, like I said, idle for like a day, then it just kind of goes down a lot, which I don't know why. The original SE had really good battery life, and this one I don't think is at its full 100% capacity anymore. It's probably at like, like 95% or something, but even then, I think you're probably going to have better battery life on the original SE, but it's going to be pretty close. Like, one's not going to outlast the other one by a lot, but that's kind of like my opinion there. But now, to sum up the video, man, should you go and upgrade your original iPhone SE to the iPhone SE 2? I'll say 100% yes. It's pretty much a good upgrade every single way. You're getting a much better phone pretty much in every category. There's some ways where maybe the SE is better, like the size in your hand. Maybe you like a really, really small phone in your hand, but I'll tell you right now, man, this phone, like, it might be a little bit bigger, but it's not like crazy amounts. Like, it's still like almost in the same ballpark. Like, it's not like 10s Max. It's not like you're going from an iPhone SE to 10s Max or 11 Pro Max or something. You're going from an SE to, something that's a little bit bigger, not crazy amounts, but this is still a pretty small phone in my opinion. It's still pretty compact. So coming from me, I mean, I have both phones in my hands. If it's a size thing that's worrying you, I would say don't even let that worry you. I mean, if anything, I feel like the SE2 was a little bit thinner than the original SE, which is kind of funny, but don't let the size fool you guys. I think it's a good phone every single which way, and it's only $400, brand new. Like, this is a tremendous phone in my opinion. So that pretty much covers it up there. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys could hit that. Also, check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. All those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate if you guys to check it out. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.